Actually, I don't know. We may not be almost there. Good morning, folks, and happy Tuesday. It's another day to go get better today than we were yesterday. But something that has been like weighing on my chest. You may think, BillyGoat, why do you show so much vulnerability to us? Why do you get so personal? Well, because I know if I struggle with that, then someone else has to. So if I'm the one who has big enough kahunas to go out there and say, hey, this is what I struggle with, then maybe someone else will be like, so I'm not alone. No, you're not alone. Most things you're not alone in. And once I've realized that in my life, things started to look better. When I realized, oh shit, I'm not alone. This person feels the same way that I feel, or this person feels the same way I feel. Like, so often people believe things are supposed to come easy, and they're not. So that's why I show so much vulnerability. It's so that, I can give you all the raw truth about things. You get what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Let's go grub down and get better today than we were yesterday. Well, shit, folks. I have moved at my own damn pace this morning, and now I've got to kick this damn thing into high gear. Let's go get better today than we were yesterday. But first, stop by and knock out a little lift ski. Well, we have made it to the gym, folks, and let me tell you right now, we ain't got much time. So let's run in here and let's knock out one of the most intense lifts that we can possibly knock out in just a very short amount of time. Sometimes you're short on time, but does that mean you get to just skip the gym? No. Does that mean you just get to skip your routine? No. Because like we said yesterday, if you skip it, then you're going to find another reason to skip it, and another reason to skip it, and another reason to skip it. So it's better just to go in there, and if you don't have much time, well, limit it to one set per exercise. You know what I mean? If you want to do multiple exercises. If you don't, then pick two parts of the body that you want to work out. Say an exercise per body part. You know, we do a full body workout. So maybe pick a leg exercise, an upper body exercise, and burn it as hard as you freaking can. So let's run in here, knock out this lift. I think we're going to choose the first choice and knock out, because we want to be able to do multiple sets of multiple exercises. So I guess we're going to do one set of every exercise and just sprint through everything. Just not give ourselves a rest. So let's go not give ourselves a rest, and then hop in the car and head to practice and go get better today than we were yesterday. So we hit our compound movements as hard as we could and as quickly as we could and as intensely as we could. And now we are back out the door, headed to go get better today than we were yesterday. Oh my flipping gosh, folks. I just missed the exit, and well, I'm stuck in 56-minute traffic now. We're at a straight standstill. Damn it, I knew I shouldn't have gotten on the interstate. I knew it. I was making perfect freaking timing. Now we are stuck on the damn interstate. Oh! Like, literally, just a standstill. No movement. We're not moving. Look, it's gonna take me an hour and a half. Flip! Well, we are finally moving. Sort of. But JB just sent me a text and told us that our kids' class is booked up. That's pretty amazing. Like, goodness gracious. I knew that there was more kids in the local area who needed martial arts just as bad as I did, who might be interested in it, who probably can't agree to pay hundreds of dollars a month. So what we were doing is ending up working out perfectly. Like, Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I don't know how I got this idea. I remember it was just like a grand idea in the randomest times when I was like, when I was quitting kids' classes, and I just felt so disappointed in myself because I saw how disappointed all the kids were that I was leaving. But I couldn't stay there and not grow, in which I wasn't growing because I didn't have time to really grow because I was running a gym. And we put out that we would do it 2 days a week until we can't do it 2 days a week. We have to do it more days, or, you know. And she put out the post yesterday that, hey, we're starting this up in 2 weeks, or beginning of February. And it blew up immediately. Like, immediately. Like, all the classes are filled. Like, you know how inspiring that is? Like, the good Lord works in mysterious ways. Because it wasn't my idea. It couldn't have been my idea. I'm not smart enough to think of doing a donations-only jiu-jitsu program. Like, nor am I selfless enough to do a donations kids jiu-jitsu program. But something in me was telling me, hey, there's other kids out there who need this, and their parents can't agree to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month for it. Why don't you take the same skills that you were using then and go help build some other kids up again? Kids were begging me to come back and teach classes. So, what did we do? We went and started our own shindig, and it blew up immediately. Immediately, like, goodness gracious, the good Lord is great. But fingers crossed that we make it to the practice sometime today. Well, one of our clients messaged us while we were stuck in this monstrosity of traffic, and they were like, hey, can we get a session in at 1? And traditionally I wouldn't do a session at 1 because, well, I'm in practice at that time. Lucky day for them. I'm not going to make it to practice until 1, so I guess we're going to try to figure out a way to get off the interstate and head back towards town so that we can get the session in with them. And then we will just have to call the morning a scratch because we wouldn't make it there until after practice. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, literally, I don't know at all what's going on. We're still stuck. Like, completely stuck. I'm really kind of ticked off because, like I said, I do not like to have to take breaks. But I guess today, or this morning, we're going to have to take that freaking break. Not my fault. It's Atlanta's fault. Screw you, Atlanta. Figure out your, what would you call it? Traffic issues. Why can we not drive on the roads? Why are all the interstates always backed up? And it's not like just backed up. Like, shit, folks. I'm literally doing 3 miles an hour. And I've done 3 miles an hour for the past hour. Well, an hour and a half later, we have finally made it back off the interstate and headed back towards the house. I guess when we get home and JB makes it back home from getting her fingerprints scanned, we will get a little bit of pad work in for ourselves, get her to hold some pads for us, get her to let me drill on her a little bit, and then we will get back out of the door and go get our client better today than they were yesterday. Well, by the time that we had made it closer to the house and I was calling JB to see where she might be, she was like, well, I'm lifting right now, but you want to go get some lunch after? And I'm like, well, why not? Why not? I can go get some lunch. We can sit down and eat. We can talk about everything that we need to do. Write it down. Plan out the week, plan out everything, plan out all the things that we need to do, because, well, we haven't sat down and talked about all the things that we need to do recently. And then we will hop back in the car, go knock out our client's workout, and then we will head home and get a little movement in, and then we will get back in the car and try this shit again. Well, I guess things just work out as they're supposed to, because JB was bugging me about how we can switch the room around, rearrange the room to make it more organized. She's like, I just need a reset. Like, And I find moving my room around and readjusting things gives me that reset. And I told her to hold off, wait till I have a day that I can help you out. And well, I guess we're gonna be able to help her out. So I guess we're gonna go knock out this client. We're gonna eat some lunch. We're gonna knock out this client, and we'll go home and rearrange the room. We just need a coax cable for the Wi-Fi so that we can still have Ethernet cables, and we don't have thousands of cables running throughout our room. We just have one really long cable running throughout our room. So I guess everything worked out just as it was supposed to, because, well, like I said, the client wanted to work out at 1, and I don't usually do 1s because we're at practice, but today we can, because, well, there was no way in hell we were making it on time today. And you know, I didn't leave any later than we usually do. I was actually making impeccable timing. Like, I had sacrificed a little bit of my lift so that I could get to practice on time, and which did not come to fruition. But, you know, shit happens. Things happen. I can't get upset about it. It takes a lot of confidence to take a day off, honestly. I'm feeling pretty confident about this weekend, folks, so I guess a day off may be okay. Get a little reset. And it's not really a day off, it's a morning off. So let's head in here, enjoy our lunch, go knock out our client, enjoy our little reset, and then go get better today than we were yesterday, because you know damn good and well I'm not skipping the whole day. Well, folks, lunch was great. It's always nice to spend a little bit of extra time with your significant other. You know what I mean, folks. So let's head to go get our clients into the shape of their dreams, and then we will head home and move around the room a bit, make it look I don't know what we're gonna do with the room. I think we're gonna move the couch to where the bed is, and the bed to where the couch is, and just get a little reset in. A little reset's always nice. Well, we just pulled into our client's place, and it looks like they're already outside trying to get their warm-up on. So let's run in here and help them out and get them in better shape today than they were yesterday, folks. Training session complete with our client. And if you're a trainer, or looking for a trainer, or you're just starting your fitness journey, you've got to build up to all-out failure, if that makes sense. Like, yes, you should be going as hard as you can, but there is a point where you do have to let the muscles grow. You do have to get stronger. You can't just hop in there and go balls to the freaking wall, because if you do, you're going to catch an injury, and you're going to get discouraged, and then you're never going to want to work out again. And ultimately, fitness journey should be a fitness lifestyle, not a fitness 2 days, 3 days, you know what I mean? And for example, our client had a trainer who knee to feet, that's what they were doing, knees to feet, knees to feet, knees to feet, and he believed that she should be able to do this until she can't do a flippin' another. Well, she was way past 50 years old at this time. Not way past, but she was no longer, she was past 50, and he was having her go from her knees to her feet. It was one leg at a time, but she was past 50, and he made her do this for the first time ever, as hard as she could, to absolute failure. Like, do people not understand that there's a difference between training an elite athlete and training someone to get into shape? Training someone to get into shape, you've got to make little itty bitty strides. You can't just like, alrighty, here you go, here's a 10-mile run, go do it. Like, no. That's why so many people try to go do marathons and can't do them, because they try to start with a marathon. Like, you got to start with like a 5K, bro. Or at least start with a mile. Then go to the 5K. Then the 10K. then the half marathon, then the marathon. But so many people just want to hop in there and go for the freaking marathon right away, and that's just not how it works. It's not how the human body works. If it's not used to something, you know what it's going to do? It's going to get injured. So, folks, slow, steady progress wins the race. The rabbit in the hare, the turtle in the hare. That's the way you should think of fitness. The turtle and the hare. Now, I'm not saying be a lazy little, shithead who doesn't actually put in work when you go to the gym. But I am saying the rabbit and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. But let's get home and reorganize the room and get a little reset in. And, yeah, I think it'll be nice. A little change. Well, folks, we are home. And back to what I was saying earlier. Let's use me, for example. When I had gotten my hernia repair, I got back to working out as quickly as I possibly could. Heck, the first day that I was out of the surgery, I walked a quarter mile, half a mile, bent over and crouched and walking like an old man. I didn't go and try to run 10 miles that day. No. I walked with a hunch, very slow, and then the next day, I walked around the yard, walked around the house, climbed the stairs, and then once I was able to walk up straight, I walked for 45 minutes, and then once that became easy again, I went on a hike. And then once that became easy again, I went on a run. And it was a process. It wasn't just overnight. It was about a week, and about a week and a half before I was back to drilling, and then about 2 weeks before I was back to normal, before I started trying to go on a run again. So, know that there is a process to things. It's not immediate. You don't just hop up and decide, I'm going to get into shape today. You do, but you got to build the body up first. But let's go in here and help JB reorganize the room. Well, I helped JB all I could. Now it's time to go try this practicing thing again. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of nonsensical traffic again, but we've almost made it. Actually, I don't know. We may not be almost there. You know, just an hour and 45 minutes later, and we are pulling into the freaking gym. Goodness gracious. What the hell? Is wrong with the traffic today? Goodness. We finally freaking made it. 30 minutes later than what we had freaking expected. Sheesh. But let's park and get in here and go get better today than we were yesterday, folks. I'm way on the line. Let me fix this joker. I don't want to be that guy. Alrighty, that's a little bit better. Now let's go get better today than we were yesterday. Striking and MMA grappling complete. Now let's run next door and get some jits in, and then call it a freaking night, folks. Well, shit, folks. Between rolling for too long and yapping for too long, we are just now leaving at 10:30. So let's get the hell home so that we can eat and call it a night, folks. Get a little bit of sleep tonight, if you know what I mean. But let me tell you, folks. It still is beating me to pieces that I left the place that I call home. It genuinely is. But there's something that you have to know. You do outgrow places at some point. Eventually, just like we were talking about with getting into shape. Eventually, you do hit a ceiling where you do have to add more weight. That's all we're doing. We just hit a plateau, and now we're having to add more to it. So, I guess I need to stop letting that little, are you a bad person because you left the place that you call home? No, you're not. You're not a bad person because you left the place you call home. You just had to go grow. But let's get home, folks. And we're home, folks. We are freaking home. The ride home was not nearly as bad as the first drive there that we never made it to, which, folks, no, the day didn't pan out like we wanted it to. We were wanting to go and lift. We had sacrificed a little bit of our lift so that we can make it to practice on time, and then we missed the freaking exit, which ended up adding an hour and a half to our drive, which then our client called us and they're like, hey, can you get a last minute workout in for us? And I was like, sure, why not? I'm stuck on the interstate anyways. I'm not gonna make it until freaking the end of practice. Like, literally, I had another 2 hours to go in the car if I was going to make it to practice. So it didn't really make sense. Like, yes, I am extremely obsessed with what I do, and traditionally I would just push through, but people would have literally been gone by the time I made it there. So, like, everyone would have been gone. So we did a little flip ski once we finally made it off the interstate, and little did I know that my client, well, they really needed me today. They were having some tough times, and as a trainer, you're not just a trainer teaching them about fitness. You're kind of like their counselors in a way. You're like a counselor who's had no training in being a counselor. You just have a whole abundance of knowledge of things that you have done wrong in your life, so you could be like, hey, it's okay. And times where you have failed, where you're like, okay, it's fine, we're gonna get through this together. And little did I know my client needed me today. So it was wonderful. Everything worked out just as fine, just as it was planned. Then, of course, JB was yapping about how she wanted to move around the room. So we were able to take the time to move around the room. And then, when we got to the gym, we are helping another fighter who, well, they're a professional. I'm still an AMI, but they wanted our help for this camp. And I was like, yeah, of course I'll help you. Well, needless to say, we sat in there and we talked about our stories. Man, our stories are so similar, and I would have never known, like, ever. I'm too prideful at times to really sit there and be like, hey, bro, you want to talk about my story? And somehow we got on the topic of our stories, and they just kept lining up. They kept lining up. And then, not to mention, we got some great work in together, like some amazing work in, like phenomenal work. So everything ended up working out just as planned. Then I had an introspective talk with coaches, and that was great too, much needed. So little did I know that the day was going to go perfectly as planned, just as it needed to go. And if I was too worried about, well, everything else in life and not worried about, well, where do you want me, good Lord? None of that would have happened. None of it. Like, none of it. And it's just insane. Like, if you trust in Him, have faith in Him, or, I guess, faithful that those little thoughts that are popping into your head, that they are not your humanly thoughts. They have to be His thoughts. And that everything that happens for a reason. Well, life just tends to be brighter. Tends to be much brighter. Let's look at, like, our kids' class, for example. Like I told you all today, it is absolutely packed out. Like, packed out. And if I would have not left the place I was at, 1, I wouldn't be growing. 2, I wouldn't have something of my own to call mine. And I wouldn't have even more kids than I have ever had. Like, ever. Like, he asked, how many have you ever had in your class? Well, I was like, I'd say 20 maybe. 20 at one time. He's like, okay, well, let's start with 20 and see what happens. Well, there was more people who wanted to join, so I called up the people, and I was like, hey, can we add more? Yeah, you think you can handle more? I can handle more. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. Like, you have no idea. Trusting and being faithful to the Lord, everything just happens. And knowing that everything happens for a reason, everything just tends to work out. Everything does. I can't express it enough, folks. I can't. But, folks, let's get inside and let's call it a night. Let's get some dinner in us and get our butts in bed. Maybe watch an episode or two of Squid Games, since we're on that. And, yeah. Good night, folks. And BillyGoat freaking loves you.